You are not responsible for his or her choice to be unfaithful. Telling you, being a mom, I think is very underrated role in our society. We are never starting from scratch. Have you ever heard a phrase, you are not a complete woman if you are not a mother? Hi, welcome to another episode of Bold Moves, the podcast where we empower women to be bold, be brave, and be you. I'm your host, Ayu, and today is special. Today is interesting. In fact, I have crafted some questions that are a little bit controversial, but relatable to our daily life. So we're going to talk in depth in each question. That would be interesting. But before I start, I want you to promise me something. If you enjoy this episode, please share to someone that needs to hear this. Okay? So promise me that. Okay, without further ado, let's start with the question number 1. Here it is. How to deal with your spouse's affair and take back your power to heal. I understand that this topic is very sensitive, but this is something that I have heard a lot recently, and it is incredibly challenging to talk about, but it is needed. Unfortunately, this kind of thing happens to people more than we think. I want you to now to sit and think about someone that is now going through this. Or even if it's you, but in part of our life, most of us have been through this kind of like situation. Probably not in the current relationship, but in a past relationship maybe. So I want you to think of that person right now that is going through this currently at this moment. You must have someone in mind. But I want you to understand that I'm not here to judge or say, oh, you have to stay for whatever it is, for the kids, for the family. Or I'm not saying that. Or you have to leave, or you have to get a divorce. I'm not here to say and judge that. I'm not here to tell you what to do. It's your decision. You have more data. You have more information. You're an adult. You are capable of making this decision yourself. But here are some things that you might want to consider. So first, I want you to acknowledge your feelings. After you discovered an affair, it is natural to feel angry, sad, betrayed, disappointed, and all that. It is natural for all of that negative feelings to arise because it's a big thing. It's a big deal for some of us. So I want you to acknowledge all of the feelings that you have felt. I want you to feel all of that, but not this one. Please listen to me. Do not self-blame. Do not blame yourself. Many women, after knowing about their spouse's affair, they start questioning themselves. They start thinking, is it because of me? Is it because of my body? Is it because how I look? Is it because my face? Is it because what I said in the past or the other day? Is it because something that I did? Is it because I'm not enough? Stop doing that. Please stop doing that. You can feel anything, any feelings that you are feeling, but not the self-blame. You are not responsible for your spouse's decision. It's their choice, not yours. Again, it's their choice, not yours. You are not responsible for his or her choice to be unfaithful. Affairs are more about the person who's doing it, the person who's cheating, rather than the one that being cheated on. It might come from their personal problems, childhood, personal issues, or even their insecurities. But it's not your problems. It's their problem. Understand that their decision comes from their own desire, not because you lacked something. So I want you to really understand. Like I said before, you can feel whatever you feel, the anger, the frustration, every feelings, but not the self-blame, because it's their choice, not yours. 2, seek support. I want you to understand that you are not alone, and you do not have to be alone in this. Healing takes time. Allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, the frustration, the anger, the whole feelings, the betrayed feeling, but try to analyze which feeling comes up stronger. Analyze it and try to think about your feeling in a healthy way. Do not numb it. That's what I'm saying. Feel what you have to feel. Do not numb it. Lean on a trusted person or friends. When I'm saying trusted person, it has to be someone that you truly trust. Okay? It's not just a random person you talk about. You're going to talk about this to anyone, or a random family member. Or I want you to really think about a trusted person that you can lean on. Or if you need professional help, go do it. Seek therapy. Find a way that you can tell about how you feel. You are, again, I'm saying this to you again, you are not alone. And you do not have to do this alone. And I believe there are people out there that will and can really help you to get through this. Okay, number 3, engage in activities or things that can help you to find you again. Try to engage. It can be baking, cooking, knitting, surfing, swimming, running, going to the gym, whatever, so you can find you again. I want you to separate yourself from the problems, because you are you. In here, you are yourself, and the problems is not part of your worth. So can you understand this? The problem is the problem that arises in your life, but you are still you. Your worth is not about what happened to you, but how you rise from it. Number 4, create strong boundaries. This is very important. I've been talking about boundaries, I think it's for the 4th episode, in the 4 episodes that I've been in my podcast. So whether you decide to stay or not, boundaries are the one that will protect you. One example could be, if you decide to stay, you want to You want to talk about clear consequence. You want to talk about firm. You want to create that clear and strong boundaries, clear and firm boundaries. When I say firm, you have to. When I say clear and firm, you have to communicate it in a way that the both parties, you and your partner, understand that there are boundaries in here. It's like open communication, transparency, maybe couple therapy, commitment, and most importantly, a clear consequence, clear consequences. What will happen if these boundaries are crossed? What will happen if this is happening again? So you really have to understand these boundaries is not for, it's actually not control. It's actually a safety net for both of you. It creates that safe environment, safe emotionally, physically, and psychologically. It is really important. The boundaries are really important to rebuild the trust between the you two. And also, again, it's not about control. It's more about creating a safe environment for both of you so you can move forward. That's what I'm talking about. Another example that I do, my husband and I, we established these boundaries way before we got married. So we had these conversations. We have this kind of like scenario. We talked about this scenario beforehand. So we have decided if this kind of thing happens, we will go separately. We will go on our way separately. That's what we have decided. And I'm not saying that, whoa, that's very strict. No, that's not it. I'm telling you, this is about we both create boundaries between us. It's not to separate us, but it's actually protecting us. We are creating this safe environment emotionally, psychologically. We create this kind of thing called boundaries to protect us, to protect our relationship. Again, it's not about control. It's creating a better environment for our relationship. 5, whether or not you're going to stay in the relationship, I want you to focus on healing yourself. This is a lot. This is heavy. This is painful. So I want you to focus to heal yourself from this wound. I want you to slowly rediscover yourself again. Use this experience as a chance for personal growth, as a chance for you to reconnect with yourself until you can trust yourself again. And until you can trust yourself again, and then you can trust others again. So it takes time to heal. It takes time to trust. Prioritize yourself. And I want you to imagine this is like a journey. Healing is a journey. Imagine if you have a deep cut here on your arm, is a serious deep cut, and it takes time to heal and a great care to recover, right? You have to take probably antibiotics, you have to take other medication, probably you have to change the bandage. If you don't do all of that, it might get infected and you get worse. So it takes time and a great care to recover from a wound, physical wound. The same with what happened to you. And it also depends on how deep the wound is. The deeper the wound, the longer and the more complicated it will be healed. So I want you to really take your time to heal yourself prioritizing yourself, and then you can start moving on. Okay, now let's move forward to question number 2. What advice do you have for women who are scared to start over, whether in their career, relationships, or personal goals? Okay, I love this topic. Let me tell you why. Although starting over can be really scary, daunting, and it's full of uncertainties, anxieties, and self-doubt, it is really important to remember that you are never starting from scratch. You are never starting from scratch. You are starting from your own experience. I want you to highlight that. I want you to really listen to that. Because starting over doesn't mean that you're starting from zero. You've had the previous experience to move forward. Change. I'm going to talk about these stories, but I know many stories about working mothers, working moms that had to take their time off work because they just had babies and they have to raise their children, right? So they had to take their time off to raise their children. And by the time when they had to return to work, to go back to work, oh my, it becomes so difficult for them to do it, to kind of like, it's like they're losing their professional self that they used to have before having babies, before having kids. And this is what I think it's not right. I think working moms, after when you have to go back to work, I think you have just leveled up your skills. Your skills is just leveled up. Because I'm telling you, being a mom, I think it's very underrated role in our society. We really not appreciate this role as much as it should be. It's freaking hard. It's very difficult being a mom. If you could list it as a professional, if I could list it as a professional, I think in terms of the toughness of the job, being a mom would be on the top. It should be. And this is some list that I found. This is some professional skills if being mother is a profession. Listen to me. Juggling multiple responsibilities, time management, multitasking skill, meal preparation and planning, health and stress management, a support system person, education and development, conflict resolution, budgeting, event planning, birthdays and family gatherings, negotiation skills, problem solving skills. What else? The list goes on and on and on and on. So these are the things that you need to do when you're ready to go back to work. You don't have to feel inferior. You just did an amazing thing. You should put this on your resume on the top, because all of the skills that you've done as being a mom those skills are powerful. So when you go back to work, don't feel inferior. Don't feel like, oh, I'm losing my professional self that I used to have. You've just gotten better, girl. The skills that you have as a mom is amazing. So I'm telling you, do not feel inferior. Go back to work. Be confident and knowing that you just got better. I've also faced my own experience of starting over in my 30s. From being in a stable job and a settled life in Australia before, and now I live in Bali. doing my own thing, including this podcast. I'm not gonna lie, it's one of the hardest things that I had to do in my life. It's one of the hardest things. The scariest, it's probably the scariest thing as well that I've ever done. The uncertainties for me is just too much, the uncertainty. What the hell am I doing in Bali? We sold everything. We just moved, and it's just like not many people would do that, to start over. I had something stable before. Why would you do that? Are you crazy? Well, some of the questions that I got, and the uncertainties, the fear, the anxiety, it's just too much. But you know what? Because of that decision, I found myself. There is one question that I asked to myself before I decided to do it, right? So I asked this to myself before. If you are writing a book, would you prefer to read or write a chapter that repeats the same stories every day, the same people, the same character, the same plots, no twist, it's all the same every day, or close that chapter and make another chapter that will be full of adventures, exciting stories, more characters, more plots, more twist? And which one I would choose? Which one you would choose? So when I asked that question to myself, I knew which way I would go. So you are never starting from scratch. You have your life experience to guide you, to go to the next chapter of your life, to start over. It's never from zero, because your experiences are important to you. You are capable of doing amazing things. Listen to me. You are capable of doing great, amazing things. You are more than what you think. You are more than what you think you are. Change, I understand that change is tough. Change is difficult. But without change, we will never discover our full potential. I want you to take note on that. Without change, we will never discover our full potential. Okay, now we're moving on to question number 3. How do you cope with the emotional and mental challenges of dealing with infertility or delayed motherhood? This is also a heavy topic to talk about. But have you ever heard a phrase saying that you are not a complete woman if you are not a mother? I'll repeat. You are not a complete woman if you're not a mother. Have you heard that? I have. So this statement, this pressure can weigh heavily on women, especially in this infertility and delayed motherhood case. And we have to challenge this outdated belief system that is kind of like saying our worth is defined by, if you can produce kids, which is our worth is not defined just by our ability to have kids. Women are not just a thing that you use to produce children. We are so much more than that. I know this is a sensitive topic to talk about. If you are triggered, please skip. I can understand that. But I know this is a sensitive topic that we can talk about, but it is necessary to talk about this as well. I've heard lots of stories of women who were divorced because of infertility. And I thought, I need to talk about this in my podcast. And here we are, talking about infertility and how to deal emotionally with that. So, how to deal with that? At first, it was really tough, of course. It was really tough for me. The questions from people, the question from me to me, the negative tests that I've done, I've had the hope, the lows of seeing other people having their babies or spreading the news that they're pregnant or things like that. The fertility test and all that. Even a movie scene about a woman in labor was difficult for me to watch, because it is not an easy thing just to no, it's not like that. It was tough for me. But do you know what helped me to get through that? Do you want to know? So I have developed this kind of mindset for me. I have developed a I don't give a mindset. So I'm focusing on what I can control and let go what I can't. That is a game changer for me. That is truly a game changer. I don't care about what people think of me, why I don't have kids. I do not care anymore about that. It's not about them. It's about me, right? It's not about them. It's about you. So develop that mindset can help us to cope with this topic, with this emotionally. Okay, second, have an open conversation with your spouse. Have that kind, real, deep, compassion, open, heart-to-heart conversation with your husband, with your spouse. It has helped me to understand and to lean on each other at first, to understand that our worth as a couple is not defined by our ability to have children. It is so much more than that. It is not a discussion. It is not an argument. It is an open conversation, heart to heart, from both of you, being honest about what you are going through. It has helped us so much to get through this kind of situation in a healthy way. Okay, I want you to do that. Number 3, adopt a cat. I'm serious. More than one if you can. But no, what I'm saying is, do not take things personally. Do not take this issue personally. Lighten up a bit, like I always refer to myself as a cat mom. Like I refer to my cats, Joey and Morgan, as my boys, as my kids. They are my kids. So I also do not get offended by, the question from people. I do not get offended when people ask me, oh, you have kids? Why you don't have kids? Because I understand that most people, it's just a question. They just want to know. I don't think they want to offend me in a way. They deliberately want to offend me because of that. I do not think so. So what I say is, do not take things personally, because it's heavy. And I actually think I would be a great mom. And I've never doubted that part since the beginning. I know that I would be a great mom. And hey, I still have hope. And about the cat, it's I'm not joking, I'm serious. But adopt, do not shop. It's the best thing. So those are the questions I have for today. If you have questions or any topic that I can talk about in the next episode or in my podcast, please write in the comment section so I can have a look at it. Please do so. I would be happy to read your comment. I really enjoyed this topic. I really enjoyed this episode. I really do, and I hope you too. We covered some controversial topics, from being cheated on to starting over to infertility. Isn't that great that we can talk about these things? But a reminder though, if you like or enjoy this episode, please, please, please share this to someone who needs to hear this. You never know that you might change their life from just one share away. All right. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.